Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to discuss the short story The Toys of Peace, written by H. Munro, who also wrote under the pen name Saki. Now, this is a short story which deals with the theme of control. Can you really control the choices of the children and how the children react to when the parents actually try to control the choices made by the children? Now that forms the crux of the story. And uh, before actually proceeding further, let's discuss about the author. Hector Hugh Munro, born on December 18th, 1870, and he died on November 14th, 1916, was a witty British author who published under the pen name Saki or H. Munro. Munro was born in Akyab, Burma, now known as Myanmar, in 1870. He was educated at Exmouth and at Bedford Grammar School. At 23, Munro became a police officer in India and was posted to Burma, where he contracted malaria before returning to England in 1895. Turning to journalism, he wrote political satires for Westminster Gazette and in 1900 published published the Rise of Russian Empire, a serious historical work. He took the pen name of Saki from the boyish cupbearer to the gods of Edward Fitzgerald's The Rubaiyat of Umar Khayyam, published in 1859, and continued to write all of his fiction under the pseudonym. He wrote many short stories and sketches. Reginald, published in 1904, Reginald in Russia, published in 1910, The Chronicles of Clovis, published in 1912, and Beasts and Super Beasts, published in 1914. Among his most frequently anthologized works are Tobermory, The Open Window, Sredni Vesta, Laura, The Schwartz Metaclub Method. He wrote the novel Unbearable Passington, published in 1912, followed by another, When William Came, published in 1913. During the World War I, Munro fought in France and was killed in action on November 14, 1916, by German sniper fire during the Battle of Ankara. The story Toys of Peace was published in 1990 anthology of the same title. Set in 1914, the story satirizes the campaign by National Peace Council, a coordinating committee of anti-war organizations against violent toys. The plot is set in motion when Eleanor asks her brother to buy peace toys instead of toy soldiers for her young sons. Presented with lead figures of notable civilians and other non-violent toys, the boys are at first unsure what to do. Children, being resourceful, however, soon find a way to combine the new toys with their history homework for entertainment. Now, this is the brief introduction both about the author and the short story. Now, let's get into the details. Hector Hugh Munro was born on December 18th, 1870, and he died in 1916 on November 14th. He was born in Akyab, Burma. Today we call Burma as Myanmar. So he was born in Burma, though he was a British. He was as we all know that he was a British author, and he is known for his wit. Wit means the capacity of inventive thought and quick understanding. It also means keen intelligence, sharpness or shrewdness. That's how we can define wit. He had a pen name, Saki or H. Munro. Most of the times he wrote under the pen name, under his pen name. He was educated at Exmouth and Bedford Grammar School in England, and he became police officer in India at the age of 23. And then he was posted to Burma, but while serving in Burma, he contracted malaria. Because of that, he returned to England in 1895. And when he went back to England, he became journalist and he started writing political satires. He wrote for the Westminster Gazette. Now, we all know he wrote under the pen name Saki, and this pen name Saki actually refers to a cupbearer, which this character appears in Edward Fitzgerald's The Rubaiyat of Umar Khayyam, which was published in 1859, and he has written all his fiction under this pseudonym, under this pen name. He has written one serious historical work which was published in 1900. The name of the book is The Rise of Russian Empire. He has written many short stories and sketches. Some of the popular ones are Reginald, which was published in 1904, Reginald in Russia, published in 1910, The Chronicles of Clovis, published in 1912, and Beasts and Super Beasts, published in 1914. He has written many famous short stories which are included in many anthologies. Some of the popular ones are Tobermory, The Open Window, The Shradney Vester, Laura, The Schwartz Metterklume Method. Now these are the famous short stories. He has also written two novels, The Unbearable Bassington, which was published in 1912, and it was followed by When William Came, which was published in 1913. Henry Hugh Munro actually participated in World War One. He fought in France during World War One, and he was killed in an action on November 14, 1916. He was killed by a fire from the German sniper in the Battle of Ankar. Now, this is the brief introduction about H.H. Munro. Now, you can see Munro lived during the time of First World War. And this, back then, that was the time when the whole environment, everybody was talking about war, So everybody was was impacted by the war. So even in the short story, we get to see the effects of war, how the war and the parents attempt to control the children. Everything is in the context of the war. Now, the story "The Toys of Peace" was actually published in 1919 after the death of H.H. Munro, and it was published in 1919. Munro actually died in 1916. It was 3 years later after the death this short story was published. This short story is actually set in 1914. Now remember, 1914 is the year when the First World War began. It began in 1914, it ended in 1918. The story is set in 1914, and this story is actually a satire on the campaign of National Peace Council. National Peace Council is actually a coordinating committee of anti-war organizations. And this council is against the use of violent toys. They don't want children to play with violent toys. So that is the campaign that is being carried out by National Peace Council in this story. The plot is set in motion when Eleanor asks her brother to buy peace toys instead of toy soldiers for her young sons. Now, the story takes place in the backdrop of the World War, and the National Peace Council is against the use of violent toys. And in this context, the story actually begins. The story begins with Eleanor, who has two children, and she asks her brother to buy peace toys instead of toy soldiers for her young sons. There are two sons of Eleanor, and Eric and Bertie are the two sons, and she is asking her brother to buy peace toys. Presented with lead figures of notable civilians and other non-violent toys, the boys are at first unsure what to do. Children, being resourceful, however, soon find a way to combine the new toys with their history homework for entertainment. Now, because Eleanor, the mother of Eric and Bertie, she doesn't want her children to play with the soldiers. She doesn't want the violence and the war, violence and the bloodshed associated with the war impact the mind of children, because the children are of impressionable age because they are around 10 and 11. So that is the reason why the mother of the children doesn't want any bad effects on the minds of the children. But will the children agree to play with non-violent toys, with the toys of popular civilians? Now, children, being resourceful, however, soon find a way to combine the new toys with the history homework for entertainment. Now, children, being children, they are not going to listen to what elders say. They find a way to play with the peace toys that are provided by their parents. Now, this forms the plot of the story. Now, before actually beginning to read the short story, let's go through brainstorming questions. Now, there are three questions which you have to keep in mind while reading this story. What toys did you like to play as a child? Have you stopped to wonder what influenced your choice in toys? There is a distinct difference between toys marketed for girls and those for boys. Discuss. Third one is, did your parents ban anything that they thought would have a bad influence on you, like toys or TV shows? Now, these are the three questions. First one is, what toys did you like to play with as a child? Have you stopped to wonder what influenced your choice in toys? Now, we all, when we all were children, we all have played with toys. And see, I cannot talk about if I tell about my choices, it will be only about my choices. But this is the question you have to think about. Think about the toys you played as a child, and try to remember the reason, or try to remember the reason why you chose that particular toys to play with. This is for you to answer. The second question is, there is a distinct difference between toys marketed for girls and those for boys. Discuss. Obviously, there is the marketing strategy for selling the toys of girls is different from boys, because there is a lot of gender stereotype attached with the toys. You won't sell Barbie doll toys to boys. In the same way, the toys which are marketed for boys are not for girls. So there is difference, because the society itself is very marked on the difference between girls and boys. That actually decides the choice of um, toys for both boys and girls. So remember that. The last one, did your parents ban anything that they thought would have a bad influence on you, like toys or TV shows? Now again, you can go back uh, go back your memory lane, and then you can try to remember what did your parents uh, tried not to play with the certain kinds of toys. If yes, or even TV shows, was there any reason for it? Were they protective about you, or were they controlling you? Or did they have a very good reason for it? Now this is the that is the question you have to answer, you have to think about. Now with these questions, now let's begin with the story. Now let's begin with the story. Harvey, said Eleanor Bope, handing her brother a cutting from a London morning paper of 19th March. Just read this about children's toys, please. It exactly carries out some of our ideas about influence and upbringing. In the view of National Peace Council, ran the extract, there are grave objections to presenting our boys with regiments of fighting men, batteries of guns, and squadrons of dreadnoughts. Boys, the Council admits, naturally love fighting and all the panoply of war, but that is no reason for encouraging and perhaps giving permanent form to the primitive instincts. At the Children's Welfare Exhibition, which opens at Olympia in 3 weeks' time, the Peace Council will make an alternative suggestion to parents in the shape of an exhibition of peace toys. In front of specially painted representation of the Peace Palace at The Hague will be grouped not miniature soldiers, but miniature civilians, not guns, but plows and the tools of industry. It is hoped that manufacturers may take a hint from the exhibit, which will bear fruit in the toy shops. Now, this is how the story begins. Now, though the story begins with Eleanor Bope addressing to her brother, she says, Harvey, she hands a paper cutting of the morning paper of the date 1914. As I've already mentioned, the story is set in the year 1914. Harvey, just read this about children's toy, please. It exactly carry out some of the ideas about influence and upbringing. Now, there is a paper cutting of dated March 19th, and the Eleanor Bope is showing to her brother, and she's saying that it carries some of the ideas about the influence and upbringing. Now, she's talking about the children. And the extract, the paper cutting, it read as, uh, in the view of the National Peace Council, there are grave objections to presenting our boys with regiments of fighting men, batteries of guns, and squadrons of dreadnoughts. Boys, the council admits, naturally love fighting and the panoply of war. So, in the view of National Peace Council, there are grave objections to presenting our boys with regiments of fighting men, batteries of guns, and squadrons of dreadnoughts. So the extract is saying that it is the view of National Peace Council. National Peace Council is a coordinating committee of anti-war organizations. So it is a council which is against war, and they are they are of the opinion that children should not be given toys of to play with the toys of fighting men, of batteries of guns, of squadrons of dreadnoughts. Dreadnoughts was a battleship, naval battleship that was used during World War One. Now, the National Peace Council is against giving children these kinds of toys. Boys, the council admits, naturally love fighting and all the panoply of war. So the council is of the opinion that boys naturally love fighting. Now, this is a kind of stereotype that is attached to the boys. That is the reason we had the second question of the brainstorming talked about different toys for boys and girls and the reasons for it. Now here, see, it is implicit. The moment you are boy, it is implicit that boys love war and all the panoply. Panoply means collection of war. But that is no reason for encouraging and perhaps giving permanent form to their primitive instincts. So the War Council is of the opinion that the boys have this primitive instinct of fighting. So because they have already the primitive instinct of fighting is already present in the boys, that is no reason to give or encourage boys by giving them violent toys. At Children's Welfare Exhibition, which opens at Olympia in 3 weeks' time, the Peace Council will make alternative suggestion to parents in the shape of an exhibition of peace toys. Now, uh, National Peace Council understands there is a danger of providing violent toys. That is the reason they have come with an alternative. Now, what is that alternative? There is an exhibition. There is an exhibition that is going to happen 3 weeks. Exhibition at Children's Welfare Exhibition. It opens at the Olympia in 3 weeks' time. The Peace Council will make alternative suggestion in the form of peace toys. In front of a specially painted representation of the Peace Palace at The Hague will be grouped not miniature soldiers but miniature civilians, not guns but plows of the industry and tools. It is hoped that manufacturers may take a hint from the exhibit, which will bear fruit in the toy shops. So at this exhibition at Olympia, they will make a miniature, they will make a specially painted representation of Peace Palace at The Hague. So the Peace Palace is home to International Court of Justice, which is in Hague. Hague is in Netherlands. So they are going to make this painting of Peace Palace, and they will present not miniature soldiers. Miniature means small, small soldiers, but small civilians. They will make toys of not guns but plows and the industry tools, so that children will be given the soldiers and other toys will be replaced by civilians and the tools of industry. It is hoped that manufacturers may take a hint from the exhibit, which will bear fruit in the toy shops. So the National Peace Council hopes that manufacturers will take the hint, will take the idea that will be presented 3 weeks from now in the welfare exhibition, and that will uh, decide, that will influence how the toys are made in the future. The idea is certainly an interesting and very well-meaning one, said Harvey. Whether it would succeed well in practice, so look at the reaction of Harvey. Harvey says the idea is interesting and it is also well-meaning, but Harvey is skeptical. He says whether it will succeed in practice, we must try. Interrupted his sister. You are coming down to us at Easter, and you always bring the boys some toys. So that will be an excellent opportunity for you to inaugurate the new experiment. Go about in the shops and buy any little toys and models that have special bearing on civilian life, a civilian life in a more peaceful aspects. So Harvey, when Eleanor shows this clip, the paper cutting, Harvey understands that this is very, the idea presented by the National Peace Council is very interesting as well as meaningful, but he's not sure whether it will succeed in practice. Even before he could complete the sentence, his sister interrupts him. He says, "We must try this idea." She says, every Easter is a festival celebrated by Christians. So every Easter you bring toys for the boys. So this Easter you can, Easter provides you an excellent opportunity to inaugurate the new experiment. The new experiment is presenting the boys with peace toys, not the violent toys. Go about in the shops and buy the little toys and models that have special bearing on civilian life in its more peaceful aspects. So she is asking Harvey to buy peace toys. She's asking to buy not the toys of soldiers, but of the civilians. Of course, you must explain the toys to the children and interest them in the new idea. I regret to say that Siege of Adrenople toy that their Aunt Susan sent them did not need any explanation. They knew all the uniforms and flags and even the names of respective commanders. And when I heard them one day using what seemed to be the most objectionable language, they said it was Bulgarian words of command. Of course, it may have been, but at any rate, I took the toy away from them. Now I shall expect your Easter gifts to give quite a new impulse and direction to children's mind. Eric is not 11 yet, and Bertie is 9.5. So they are really at a most impressionable age. So Eleanor is very much concerned. She's giving suggestions to Harvey, her brother, to buy a certain kind of toys, that is, peace toys. She's also remembering a particular incident when Aunt Susan had actually presented the toys of Siege of Adrianople. Of course, you must explain to the boys toys to the children, explain the toys to the children, and interest them in the new idea. So the onus is on Harvey to make the children interested in the toys he is going to buy. He has to present them in an interesting way. And she also quotes the example in which Aunt Susan had provided the toys of war. I regret to say that Siege of Adrianople toy that their Aunt Susan sent them did not need any explanation. They knew all the uniforms and flags. So Aunt Susan had presented Siege of Adrianople toys, and the moment she presented the toys, she did not need to explain what these toys were about and who were the actual soldiers and the commanders. The children knew the children had knowledge about the uniforms, flags, and the names of the commanders. They were very much aware of everything, and they also used a certain language which Eleanor thought was the most objectionable language, a crude one, not a civilian one, but it turned out to be a Bulgarian word of command, not a bad word. Of course, she says, of course, it might have been the Bulgarian words for command, but still, she took away the toys, that is, the toys of the Siege of Adrianople. Now I shall expect your Easter gifts to give quite a new impulse and direction to the children's mind. Eric is not 11 yet, and Bertie is only 9.5. So they are really at an impressionable age. So Bertie, she now expects her brother to